Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. My name is Mike McGee, and I'm our Global Head of Sales for IBM Integration. Super happy to have you here today as we take you through our new offering that GA'd yesterday, IBM API Connect on AWS, a multi-tenant SaaS offering that we're really proud of and super excited to talk to you all about, bringing our industry-leading API Connect capabilities to the industry-leading AWS platform. So super excited to talk to you about that. We've got Rashmi Kaushik, our program director for integration, who's going to take you through the beginning of the material. And then Ricky Morehouse, our cloud architect for API Connect, is going to take you through a live demo of the experience on with APIC on AWS. Yes. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rashmi and let you get started. So Rashmi, please take it away.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Can you hear me okay?
You sound great.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you for that. All right, folks. I'm very excited to be here to share with you, Mike already alluded to that, to share with you that our new offering, IBM API Connect SaaS, is now available on AWS. So our API Connect SaaS offering is our IBM API management solution that unlocks apps and business data as APIs. This particular offering is a cloud-native multi-tenant offering that is available through the AWS Marketplace. In order to access this, you can go to the AWS Marketplace and register for a free trial. You can also make a purchase directly via the Marketplace. Now, in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you what is API Connect, why API management is really important for your business, and what are the benefits that you will derive from it. Before we get into API management itself, let me talk about a little bit of the industry trends and what's driving the need for API management. So many of you may know that over the last few years, especially early part of the pandemic, we saw a very sharp rise in the number of digital transformation projects that our clients undertook. That trend continues. We continue to see our clients boosting investment into their digital transformation projects. In fact, IDC said they've seen digital investment growth of about 15.5% over a 4-year period, ending in 2023. So this is with this big post-pandemic push for business innovation, we're seeing a lot of businesses transform their end-to-end digital experiences with using apps, data, systems, people, process, and it involves all of these entities both within and outside the enterprise. So you can only imagine the complexity that is involved in this landscape. So organizations that are taking on these type of digital transformation initiatives absolutely need a strong integration strategy, and APIs are a key enabler of that strategy. Let me tell you a little bit more about the API management solution. Can you live without one is the question here. With an API-led integration strategy, that strategy is really successful if you're maximizing the reuse of APIs across the organization. So think about discovering the APIs in your organization, ensuring you understand, what exists in your API catalog, able to reuse those APIs now to build and compose new applications. These are all the things that you need to do in order to ensure that you have a strong API-led integration strategy. This is all possible only when you have a foundation of API management underneath the covers. If you didn't have a solution like this, it leads to what's called API sprawl, where you may have APIs, in the thousands, and sometimes in very large enterprises, you may have even millions of APIs all over the enterprise, different styles of APIs, different locations that they're in, different repositories, and just it becomes a huge challenge for organizations to kind of get their own arms around it. On top of all of this is the challenge for API security. Because APIs expose, apps and data, you have to be very careful about securing these APIs. Otherwise, you're opening it up to data breaches and hacks and such. So let me talk to you a little bit about why API management solutions are in demand as a SaaS offering. So in general, over the last few years, you've seen how cloud has taken off, and most businesses have realized, businesses of all sizes, most businesses have realized, that they prefer fully vendor managed solutions that they can use, especially because they see direct benefits from all the CapEx cost savings, and then they don't have to worry about hiring the right talent and the skills to be able to manage infrastructure and the underlying technology and such. In the integration domain and in API management, it's no different. Our clients have told us that they have certain preferred clouds, and that's where their apps and data live, and they want API management solutions to be managed by IBM so that they can focus their API developers and their integration architects to do the core integration work and speed up their digital transformation initiatives. So going back to, we spoke a little bit about why API management and then why API management SaaS. So let me elaborate on that by saying why API Connect now on AWS. So there's two parts to this, from a business standpoint and then from a product standpoint. So let me explain the product business standpoint first. So for businesses that have apps and data on AWS today, they can harness the power of Amazon Web Services Cloud and take advantage of the API Connect AWS native offering in order to kickstart their API projects, progress it, accelerate it, and so on. AWS clients can also take advantage of their AWS credits to purchase the API Connect offering. They can also take advantage of the centralized billing that they have today. They don't have to worry about getting billed separately through IBM. And then from a product standpoint, API Connect has some built-in optimizations for AWS. For example, the API Connect analytics data is now available in S3 buckets. So if clients have access to, let's say if clients have access to Amazon QuickSights or another analytics tool, then they're able to use the data in those S3 buckets to view the reports and the dashboards essentially. We continue to build on these optimizations as we, in the next 6 to 12 months as well, on more of the AWS products and services. And then I spoke to you a little bit about the API Connect offering being a cloud native, AWS native multi-tenant offering. Because it's AWS native, you also get some naturally occurring benefits like reliability, scalability, fast access to the service with near instant provisioning, and so on. All right, so let me move over to tell you a little bit about what types of businesses and use cases we're seeing with APIs. How are businesses making use of APIs, and creating new streams of revenue and such. In the finance world, I think many of you know, with the open banking standards, API-led strategy has been very popular over the years. So it's, we see a lot of fintech companies, really taking off in this area. In healthcare, automotive, retail, and actually many more industries, we see a lot of use cases and scenarios boiling up. Like, for example, on the retail side of the house, retailers, consumer packaged goods, and their supply chain typically use B2B integration which is all EDI based. Now, of late, they've been seeing some new mandates around the use of APIs in order to interact with their ecosystem and their supply chain. So a lot of the retailers and their supply chain partners are now augmenting the B2B strategy, which is EDI based, with a very strong API strategy. I'll also give you another example with a transportation company, a railway transportation company that we work with very closely in Europe. So they have always had a very strong API-led strategy. They have one set of their API products focused on their business partners for things like scheduling timetables, train timetables. They have repair work and maintenance on the other side. They have supply chain on the third, and so on and so forth. So they have specific API products that work with some of these with the partner interactions, if you will. And then on the public consumer side, they work with commercial travel apps that require the train timetables up-to-the-minute information on train departures and arrivals and so on. So that becomes a new stream of monetization for them with their API-led initiative. We've seen a lot more of these types of use cases. I'll talk to you about a couple case studies as we get in later on into the into this presentation, but you can also access a lot of our case studies on IBM.com. Okay, so we talked about what is API management, what's really a primary driver for it today, why SaaS, why API Connect SaaS on AWS, and some of the common use cases. Now let me tell you a little bit about the API management lifecycle and how that actually works and different personas that are involved. So when you think about an API management lifecycle, it starts with the creation of an API, testing, managing, securing, socializing, monetizing, and so on. There's different personas. For example, in the create stage, you may have a lot of API developers creating APIs and testing it out. With managing and socializing, you may have a lot of API product managers that are involved in ensuring the management of the products and how they're surfaced to their end consumers and so on. You will also have DevOps folks that are looking at promoting your APIs from development to test to production and so on. Here's where API Connect comes into play. It really brings together specific multiple experiences for all these different personas across the lifecycle phases of your API management. So let me tell you a little more about that. When you think about managing your creation of your APIs, we have API developers that use our open API standards. We support both OAI 2 and OAI 3. They also may be developing multiple styles of APIs beyond REST. Overall, API Connect provides all the automation capabilities like API testing in order to improve not only developer productivity, but also to improve overall code quality, if you will. When you think about managing APIs, here's where API product managers typically package all the API products that they have for different sets of consumers, and they may be publishing it to different portals. And underneath the covers is a very strong foundation of versioning and governance that API Connect provides, which enables API product managers to now grow their go-to-market channels and their subscription business very quickly. Securing, we talked about securing the APIs. This is a very important piece overall in the life cycle. You're exposing sensitive information via APIs from the backend data and apps. Without securing it effectively, then you're just opening it up to data breaches and hacks. So API Connect in this case enables you to build very strong, robust security policies and also enforce those policies using our industry-leading gateway technology. Socializing APIs is yet another important phase of the lifecycle where you have both API product managers and you have API developers who are creating company branded portals, for example. So an Acme company portal may now have the ability to surface, portal number 1 may surface certain types of products to your business partners. Portal number 2 may have a different set of products for public consumers and so on. API product managers and API developers are able to communicate with their end consumers very effectively through these portals via blogs, forums, ratings, and much more. So monetizing, again, is enabled by API Connect very effectively, where businesses can bring their digital business over to their ecosystem. So you can define your pricing details within API Connect. You can set up for recurring payments and subscription pricing. You can also do very seamless user onboarding, as well as set up payment collections through other third-party interactions as well as out-of-box capabilities. Automating APIs and analyzing it, again, gaining business insight into your API usage is one of the critical things that we always hear from our clients. They want to know about how many API calls they've consumed, how is it performing, being able to drill down into out-of-box reports as well as some custom reports that they have. Especially in this case, we are actually offloading the API analytics data into S3 buckets, as I mentioned earlier. And our clients for API Connect SaaS on AWS can use a range of analytics tools, whether they're using IBM Cognos or whether they're using Amazon QuickSights. They're able to take the data from S3 and be able to visualize it on their reports and dashboards of choice. All right. I will share with you just a couple quick customer success stories here. I have a link here to API Connect case studies, which you can read. There's a much longer version of these customer success stories and also many other industry use cases that you can access. So I think it will be shared through the chat link, but you can also access it from this presentation later on. So let me talk to you a little bit about the MoneyTree success story here. So MoneyTree is one of our clients who delivered an API-based platform called MoneyTree Link to their financial services clients. MoneyTree's APIs basically connected MoneyTree's clients to a range of financial services offerings from very select companies through a secure process. This enabled MoneyTree to offer specialized financial services offerings to all of its clients. Innomra is yet another client case study that we have a lot more detail on the website that I have a link to there. Innomra Research recognized a particular need for an API management solution among telecom companies. So these telecom companies were taking over a year to complete their API-led integration projects. With API Connect, Innomra was able to deliver over 50% faster API time to market and also create new monetization paths for telecom providers that it worked with. So these are just two examples. Like I mentioned, a lot more case studies on the website for you to access. All right, let me leave you with a few links here. We have the AWS listing on, we have the API Connect listing on the AWS Marketplace. Please go ahead and access that. If you have questions, contact us. There's a contact us form where you can provide more detailed questions or asks, and we will get back to you. Regarding the free trial, we have the ability for you to test drive our offering. So please self-register for the trial and give us your feedback. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation today. I will pass it over to my colleague, Ricky Morehouse, who's actually going to demo all the wonderful features that I just talked about in the API management lifecycle. Thank you. Over to you, Ricky.
Thank you, Rashmi. Just share my screen. Hopefully you can see that now.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to start off at the AWS Marketplace, as that's the place where we can see our new API Connect on AWS listing. So if I search on the Marketplace here for, not AWS Connect, API Connect, we should then see our listing come up in the search results. And then we can click through to IBM API Connect and see some more details of what the API Connect service has to offer, details on the pricing and the orange button if you want to purchase straight away. But today I'm going to go into the free trial. So I'll click the link off to the trial sign-up form to sign up for a 30-day free trial of API Connect. So you can either sign up here for a new IBM ID when signing up, or as I'm going to do, you can log in with an existing IBM ID. And then there'll be some background checks, confirmation of a few details. And then it will take me on to ask me what I want to call my new API Connect instance. So this is the provider org name that gets mapped into API Connect and becomes part of the URLs when I'm calling APIs. So let's just call it webinar. And click through. This will get it set up for me and associate my provider org with one of the gateways that's set up in the SaaS offering. And then I can click straight through to the instance, which I'll also get the details of in an email. And this should take me through to the login for the manager. As I'm already logged into IBM ID, it takes me through Security Verify and then just gets confirmation that I want to generate the token for this application. Click through, and this should take me in to see the API Manager interface. Now, APIs in API Connect are grouped into catalogs to make them available for developers. By default, you get a sandbox catalog, which is designed for development, and you can add additional catalogs to group your APIs and associate those with a developer portal. For this demo, I'm going to create a developer portal on the sandbox catalog, although typically for production, this would be, you'd have a separate catalog for the production APIs and just use the sandbox for development. So I'll leave that creating in the background. It takes a few minutes to complete and confirms via email. And then I'm going to go over and do some API development. Now, this develop down the side is the same as the develop APIs on the front page. I'm going to create a new API, and to speed things up a bit, I'm going to import an existing API that I built in advance. And this will take in Swagger. So I can take my existing Swagger file and upload it and then activate it straight away. And it gives me the details of the gateway that I'm on and the credentials. If I go in and edit the API, I'll show you what I've got set up here. I've got a very simple API for this demo, just a single path on it that takes in the code for an airport. Then on the gateway tab, I've got a flow defined. So I'm taking the data in of the code. I'm doing a map to prepare that data to go into the input for a Lambda function. I'm then invoking a Lambda function, which I've got over here in my AWS account that is, again, very simple demo work, returning the appropriate airport details from this array based on the input. I will point out that at the minute, this is set up as a Lambda function URL with no authentication. We don't yet have support to do the IAM authentication for the Lambda URLs, but these are the things that we're looking to enhance over the coming months. So you'd want to do something like adding some secure header until that's available, so that the function can't be called directly. But in this case, for the demo, I'm just going to call it directly. Then I'm also going to call out to weather.com to get some weather data for the same airport location, and then combine the two inputs in a map to a single output to pull that data together. So because my API was made active on the gateway straight away, I can then go straight over to the test tab to start calling this API. So let's drop in with the pre-created credentials. Let's drop in an airport code. So we'll go for London Heathrow, and we'll call that API. And we see down here in the response that we've got the data back with the name of the airport from the Lambda function and the weather narrative from the weather.com data. I can then also click across to trace and see specifically what happened on the call out to the Lambda function. I can see that I had the request with the body of code LHR. This may be a bit small to see. And the response back with just the airport information. Again, I could do the same for each stage of the API. This gives a good way to debug and understand what's going on with the different systems that make up the API flow. So then, now that that's there, I'm going to just check over again to my portal to see what we've got showing on the portal side that would be there for application developers that would want to come and use my APIs. So I'll grab the portal URL from the catalog and head over to that. We see that we've got the developer portal set up and ready to go. I will have the welcome email to tell me that that's ready to go and give me the admin link to log in my inbox. But for now, I'm just going to create an account and sign up as an application developer to start using the APIs from the portal. So create a password and then drop in the captcha code and sign up. Now I should get another email to that ID with the details. There we go. So I've now got my Sandbox portal account registration. Because I've got multiple browsers, I'm going to copy paste the link rather than clicking on it. Then go after that, and now my account is activated, ready to sign in. So I can sign in here with my username and password that I created on the previous page. And then explore the API products that are published. So you can group APIs into a product within the portal. In this case, I've just got the one in a sample auto product, but that's a way you can provide a grouping of a set of APIs that are made available as a grouping. I'm going to sign up for a default plan to use this API and create a new application definition, my awesome mobile app. And now I'll copy the secret because that's only displayed one time and select that app is the one that I want to use with the API and confirm that I want to sign up for the default plan. This says it's free subscription for unlimited calls. As Rashmi mentioned earlier, we've got the option to monetize these, and that can be done through an integration with Stripe. So you can have different plans and have different amounts of API calls allowed on them and have some that are paid plans if you want to. So that's now subscribed to that application. I can then click through to see the product details of what I signed up for and have a look at the documentation that's published for that API. And I've got the details there of the paths within it. I've just got this one, so get code and some definitions, shows you the length is required and how to do it with curl or with different languages. So if I wanted to drop it into Node, I could use the sample code from here to do that. I can also click across to the Try It tab, and it will pre-populate the client ID for my application and give me a field to drop in the code that I want to do. So this time let's put SJC and hit send. Maybe that wasn't one that I've got in my Lambda function because I've only got weather.com data back. Let's try RDU. I thought I'd got SJC in there. Raleigh Durham is in there, so that one does do it. But yeah, I'd put the other San Jose in Costa Rica, not San Jose, California. That's why. Okay. So then you've got that example of how to use the API, how to publish it through to the portal, and to call it as a developer. And there's lots more that you can do along the way through that. Within the catalog, you've got the lifecycle and or approval flows that you can put in place. But that's the end of the demo that I'm going to do today. Feel free to go and sign up for this yourself. Find it on the AWS Marketplace and click the link to get a 30-day trial.
Sorry, I was trying to find my mute button. Great. Thank you, Ricky. Great demo, and I appreciate that. We've had some great questions that we've been answering. So I figured I would highlight a few of these and answer a few of these live so everybody can hear them. There was a question about can you try this before purchasing it? Absolutely. We have included links in Rashmi's deck, and you'll get the materials afterwards for a 30-day trial that we have available on APIC on AWS. So you absolutely can sign up for the trial and come play around with the solution. You'll be able to get the same exact look and feel that Ricky just demoed for us, and you'll be able to try out the offering before you buy it. The other question was about that I thought I'd highlight was about how do I purchase this? And there are currently a couple of options. One is directly via the Amazon Marketplace in the U.S. Currently, that's only a U.S. purchasing option. There's currently some things that IBM and Amazon are still working out as part of this relationship, and so currently the marketplace purchase is a U.S. only purchase option. But we will also have an IBM part number that you could work with your IBM team to purchase as well, and that would be a direct sale between yourselves and IBM, but it would still be the same offering running on AWS, so the same APIC offering running on AWS. And we have links on how to contact an IBM representative if you don't know how to contact that. I know we have some partners on this session, so I'll answer. There was a question about partners being able to sell this. We are finalizing the agreements with AWS to allow partners via the IBM Partner Program as well as the AWS Partner Program. So stay tuned. We weren't able to get everything quite wrapped up for GA, but we will have a strategy for our partners, which are very important to our ecosystem and our selling strategy. So stay tuned, partners. We will have an offering available for you to sell very quickly. Rashmi or Ricky, any other questions that you thought you would like to highlight? I know, I don't know if Ricky or Rashmi want to answer this. There was a number of questions around working with other cloud providers. So I know this is our first one that we're launching. And Rashmi, do you want to touch on what our plans for the future with other hyperscalers and other cloud providers?
Yes, for sure. So right now, this year, we've launched it on AWS. And we are planning it on other cloud providers as well, all based on client demand and what we see as asks from the field.
Excellent. And we do currently, our APIC native offering can run on all the hyperscalers on Azure and a bring your own license model. So feel free if you need some help. We do certainly, we're highlighting our APIC on AWS SaaS offering, but we do have other flavors of this offering that can be sold as an on-prem solution that you can then bring the licenses and run on Azure. We have many clients running on AWS that way, on Azure that way, and on IBM Cloud as well. So we do have some flexibility, but currently for this SaaS offering, it's an AWS statement. A question on the licensing metric. It's an API calls based licensing metric. So we charge you based on the number of API calls, and then currently we offer it as at a minimum of an annual subscription, and can offer more years on top of that. We are still exploring pay-go and other shorter term options, but initially the offering is a minimum of 12-month commitment. I think we have hit on. Oh, there's some. Ricky, I don't know if you can do this. And I'm putting you on the spot. One of the questions, so if you can't, that's fine. One of the questions was, can we show analytics on AWS? Is that something that you have the ability to show, or do you want to address that at least?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not something I can easily show in a demo like this today. Part of the reason is because you need a decent amount of data to make the analytics show look like anything. But what we've got is there's an interface that I can show you, the interface that will set up the starting point to get to the analytics, but I can't show anything interesting on the data. So let me just jump over to that quickly, just to sort of show an idea of how that will work. So on the API Manager, you've got the page for analytics. We're going to have some brand new built-in dashboards for analytics. And on the trial account, you would need to put in your AWS account ID, and then the data in the the data in the AWS bucket will be shared with you with your account ID. So if I copy my account ID from here, and then jump back and drop it into the form here, and click Access S3 Data, it will automatically in the background share the data from the analytics with an S3 a folder in the S3 bucket with my account, and then it will show me the data there. I've there's obviously a little delay in getting the data there, but that would be where you'd see the bucket, and then you could point QuickSight to that. Hopefully we'll have some pictures in a blog post, or I think we may have that in the documentation even, actually, to be able to see what that could look like using the analytics data with Amazon QuickSight.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ricky. Rashmi, any, I think these questions have slowed and we've answered most of them. Any closing thoughts from you, Rashmi?
I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming to the session and listening to us. I think we've had some great questions in the background. I don't know if everybody can access the chat and the answers that have been submitted. Feel free to contact us, after this. We'd love to give you a deeper dive if you'd like that, and definitely go sign up for the trial. Ask your customers to do so as well, and give us your feedback on the features that you see in the trial service. Great.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited about this, everybody. This is a huge partnership between IBM and Amazon overall. This is the first self-provision multi-tenant offering that IBM has launched, so we're pretty excited to be the first. And so thank you very much for your time. And Portia, I think we are coming to a close now and able to wrap this up. So thank you, everyone, for your time.